curious for now.
Good, good.
Yeah,
Excellent. So we are live. I'm here with Isabel Juncal.
yeah.
Did I say that okay?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Very nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time to come on and chat with me. How are you been doing?
of course. I'm doing great, actually. I've been on a meeting this morning because I'm a catechist
You're a catechist.
for kids, for children. Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
think I know too much because I don't. Trust me. I think that like God put me in the spot. I don't know why, because I don't have the amount of knowledge, for example, that you have or that other people have. I'm really ignorant, but I try to give
How
my best.
how old are you and where are you geographically?
I am 22 years old and I'm from Argentina in the north part
Oh, that's where
of
you are right
Argentina.
now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Ah, ah.
Yeah.
Do you know that today is Thanksgiving for Canadians? It's our Thanksgiving. Or
Oh, really?
it's this is the day that I got off for Thanksgiving. So I don't know if it's today, officially today, but I got the day off of work, so that was good.
Well, I have the day off too, but it's not because of Thanksgiving.
Do you have Thanksgiving
Because
in Argentina?
no.
Oh, okay.
Why are you giving that? Why are you giving thanks?
It's a pilgrim thing from when the first I don't know what the politically correct term is for the people that came from Europe to the Americas, and they
Okay.
lived with the Amerindian people, and they had this sort of uh, these settlements and exchanges, and there was a
Okay.
Thanksgiving ritual that was established in the tradition of the American peoples in North America. And you're down way down in the southern tip of South America, right?
Yeah, exactly. The southeast,
But you
like
said
in Argentina.
you're in the northern
No, no,
part
I mean the
of
southeast. You mean the country, but I'm
the
in the
country,
north
but
part.
you're in the northern part of that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I
Okay.
mean Argentina has the end of the world, like parts.
And
Yeah.
the Pope is from there, although
Yeah.
he's got Italian roots, I believe.
Yeah. Here, most people are like from Spain and from Italy. Yeah,
Okay.
like 90% or so.
Not too
So we look
many.
whiter than the other South Americans. We
Okay.
like to call ourselves the Europeans, so the Latin American
Okay.
people.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fewer Aboriginal or Amerindian types or African slave people that were initially slaves and now became liberated. Like that's
here,
a lot of people in North America and Central America and South America were slaves at one point from Africa, and they
here, no.
you don't
We
have that
we
much.
actually like there's no like black people here,
No,
like not at all.
you
No,
need to travel to
there's a
which?
lot of native people though.
Oh, okay.
I
And
mean, there's a lot of mixed people, like native with like Spanish people.
of course they
So
mixed, of course.
everyone here is like from that mixture.
And we have the Inca, the Aztec, and there's one other one that I'm aware of the native peoples there. But which are you?
The Aztecs, no, they were not here. The
Ah, yeah,
Aztecs,
but I'm saying generally in
yeah,
South
yeah, yeah,
America,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know how they're mapped out onto the South America, but do you know which people was around your area?
I don't know the
No?
translation in English, but I think in my area was the Tonocotes, but it's like
Oh,
native people.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are many sub-tribes, but I think
Hmm.
the large classifications that we learn about or that I learned about were the
Oh, mhm.
Aztecs and the Incas, and there's another one I can't remember, another big
No,
one.
no, those are like totally different types because we didn't have like that hierarchy here.
No?
No, no, here are divided depending on the zone that they live. Some were collectors, other like were like nomads, another were like hunters, depending on the zone they lived, rather
Okay.
than the hierarchy. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So let's get into the Catholic background. Let's get into your background.
Okay.
Like, if you're from Argentina, probably there's a lot of cultural Catholicism, so you probably
Yes.
were raised with that. Talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what made your journey unique from an early age, like how you
Yeah.
were exposed and how you felt as a very
Yeah.
young child, even before the age of reason, were just sort of impressions that were made by the smells and the bells in the Catholic Church and these sorts of
Right.
things. Or maybe you had a grandmother that would pray and you'd see her praying and that made an impression.
Mhm.
Talk about those early impressions and some of the things that guided you toward Christ and his church, and then maybe away from Christ and his church, and then back to
Yeah.
his church, or whatever happened. Just talk to us
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, in Argentina, like but in the constitution, we declare ourselves a Roman Catholic
Nice.
country. Yeah.
I like
I
that.
think it's the second article or so. But yeah, I was born in a cultural Catholic family, we could say, or lukewarm, however you want to say it.
That's pretty common there and everywhere.
Yes, like I call myself a Catholic, but I rarely go to church or like.
Oh, even
And
now?
so, yeah.
Oh.
No, like I have family members, for example, a cousin that didn't get married in the Catholic Church, but still baptized her child
Okay.
in the
Okay,
Catholic
so
Church.
you're not getting in touch with me because you're on fire for the faith and you've come back full force as a revert that's excited.
Yeah.
You're not all excited because you've rediscovered the truth of the church. Is that because that's what I thought it must be?
I mean, let me start.
Sure.
It's a
Explain.
long journey, and I have all
Explain
the
the journey.
pieces.
Explain the journey.
Yeah. Okay, so I was born, like my parents, they have a long courtship or relationship. They dated each other for 11 years, and they got married, and they had me when they were old. My dad was like 35, my mom was like 33. I have an older brother. He's not a cop. Okay, sorry. Let's get distracted.
You can jump around. You can jump around and follow the stream of consciousness. You're one of how many kids?
We are two. I'm the youngest.
Oh, okay. The younger.
And I'm yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So my mom baptized me in the church months later months after I was born. And then she got me into the communion in the cathedral. The cathedral in my city is the eldest in my entire country.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the Virgin of Carmen, I think it's called. The Carmelites. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That one. Yeah.
Wow.
And I discovered that recently. That's not a good sign.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Your city, what is the name of your city?
Santiago del Estero.
Santiago
Santiago del Estero.
del Estero?
Yes, exactly.
Estero means?
Like something related with water. I don't know how to translate it.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
Santiago, which saint is that in English?
No, it's not a saint.
It's not a saint?
It's the name of the guy that founded the city, Santiago.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So yeah, I got communion, and then there was this strong influence of why I was motivated to go to church with my mom and my brother. My father was never a fan of the Catholic Church. He considers himself Catholic, but he's a Catholic in spirit, but not religious. He doesn't like the religious part. So with my brother, we always like going to mass, not because of the mass itself on the cathedral, but because on the corner of the street, like of the cathedral, there was like a hot dog shop where my mom would buy us the hot dogs after mass. So during mass, we would get so excited to get the hot dog. Yeah. That was our motivation. So when that shop closed, all our motivation was gone. Yeah.
So sad. Were there other kids from the church there that you're like a dozen kids trying to buy hot dogs, or was it just you and your brother?
No, yeah, a lot of people went there. There was like the big hot dogs that were really popular here in my city. Yeah.
Okay. What do you put on them? Do you just put mustard, or do you put sauerkraut and What do you put?
No, we put like mayonnaise and like other ketchup and like mini French fries
Oh
and
yeah.
lettuce and
Okay. Okay.
tomato. Yeah, it's really it was really
No pickle or
no
relish.
pickles, no.
Nothing sweet. Nothing too sweet. I guess ketchup is
No,
sweet.
no, we are all salty or all sweet. We don't tend
Okay.
to. That our culture with when it comes to food, we're very simple.
Ah,
Yeah.
do you know about, this is way off topic, but do you know about
No, it's okay.
do you know about the white corn that's very fat, white corn?
White corn.
Yeah, it's
We
a
have yellow
specialty.
corn.
You have yellow corn. Okay, you don't know the white corn because I just bought it. I saw it at the grocery store in the Latino section. I bought
Mhm.
it and I didn't know what to
Oh
do
wow.
with it, but I thought you might know about it. It's a Cherokee specialty, I think. So maybe that's, I'm not sure where the Cherokee were, but anyway, I thought you
Maybe
might
it
know.
was in another country. Yeah, here we're very
Probably.
simple. We tend to eat is meat is almost in every meal we have because our meat is the best. You
Your
should try Argentinian meat. It's truly the
meat?
best.
Meat?
Meat, like
Okay.
beef.
Okay.
Beef.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
not a
it's
huge fan of meat, but I eat it.
okay.
I eat it just sort of out of a sense of obligation. I actually started eating meat in order to give up meat on Friday because Catholics are supposed to give up meat
Ah,
on Friday.
yes,
But I wasn't
exactly. Yes.
eating meat, so I couldn't give it up. So I started eating meat to give it up.
Okay.
But so yeah, back to the hot dog and the motivation.
No,
How old were you? How old were you and your brother at that
I
time?
was like 8 and my brother was 11
Okay.
or something like that. My brother was also like doing communion at that time. I was too young. I did communion at like 13. So we still went like to cathedral like every Sunday up until I was like 14, I think. Then we started going to my parish that's more nearby. And now me and my mom only, my brother and my dad were not in the picture. Well, my dad was not in the first place, but my brother got away. And my father will take us because my mom doesn't drive. She knows how to drive, but she doesn't drive. And then I will start putting up like a fight, like, oh, I don't want to go, I'm tired, like
What
just
time is mass?
laziness. At like 9.
Oh, okay. Pretty
Yeah, it
early.
was not that early, but I'm being lazy.
Yeah.
Or like I don't want to go, it's boring. Oh no, I have actually a very like important point of my religion. 15 birthday parties here are like a very like huge.
Quinceañera?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you
Quinceañera.
say it?
Quinceañera.
Quinceañera.
Yeah, exactly. And I went to my parish that's nearby me. I went with high-waisted shirts that were in like leather, kind of high-waisted shirts. And I was like in the front pew that's like sideways. So yeah, like the audacity of, because after mass, that was at night, I had like the birthday party of my friend. So, so I was going out. This lady said, "Go here."
She put a
Why?
blanket on you.
No. Why are you coming here at mass like that? Aren't you ashamed? And well, I was in the like on the way to my friend birthday party. I was like, who does this lady think she is? I came to mass, I made the effort, and she's bothering me with my outfit. God loves me, and
Yeah, God loves
all
you.
that
God loves you.
stuff.
But the men, like I'm a man, so the men are distracted by beautiful young
No,
women. That's a
I know
fact.
that.
You should know that, and you should be
I
careful.
know.
You should be careful. Even at the birthday party.
I know. No, no, no. Yeah.
I don't want to slap your wrist and give you trouble.
No, I know.
But
No,
just be
I
aware.
know
Just be
now.
aware. There's danger of getting
Yeah.
men excited, and it's
No,
very
but
easy.
that was the first time that someone did something like that to me.
Hmm.
Well, it slapped me like with my pride, and I felt hurt
Oh,
because I knew like realized now I knew deep down she was right, and I was wrong. But my pride was too high or too strong that I like left church, and I have like less energy to go every like Sunday. And then I started going to university and stopped caring about my appearance, like not gaining weight, but like stop putting effort and going like with the star face to school and like who cares. And I started getting interested in boys.
Uh-oh.
So I started no, not like that. So I started my journey with femininity. And I've started searching for how to look prettier, how to lose weight. And I started with the secular part. And then like started seeing like Protestant videos of femininity and more like that because they had more relevancy in American YouTube. And then I started reading books about that. And I found Dietrich von Hildebrand. I don't know if you heard about him.
Yeah.
I found the video that he talked about purity.
Oh, wow. Exciting. And his wife is pretty exciting too. I don't know if you know.
I read like yes.
Cool.
Alice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And that.
How old were you at that time?
That was before the pandemic started. No, that was at that time, around that time.
3 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that?
2020.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
2020. The start of 2020.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and I did yoga before that.
Okay.
Because to lose weight, flexibility, yada, yada. I didn't know about like danger of that. And I read that and that just blew my mind. Wow. And I'm like, that was it.
Nice.
Yes. Wow. And then I started reading John Paul II. I started reading Humane Vitae. I started reading all about the sexuality, but in a pure form.
Yeah.
Because when I was in high school and the first year of college, I was all about reading novels.
Okay.
But the bad ones. the one for young women,
romance,
young girls that are like pornography to women.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not like 50 Shades of Grey or something like that, but you know,
the
like
same idea, soft
toxic love, secular love.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced anything with a boy though, so thankfully it didn't like made like the consequence bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I started going to church before the pandemic by myself.
Wow.
Because I knew how to...
For the first time you were going with your own decision to go, your goodwill,
my own meditation,
and with pure heart, striving for purity.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because I also had like my driver's license, so I have like more independency.
And you just bring your own hot dogs with you every time you go now?
No. And I started going by myself. And I sent a face message, when's mass? Asking when's mass. And I think it was in the morning. I entered the church building, the parish. And I started crying. But you don't know how, because I'm a crybaby.
Okay.
So just imagine all the weight of my sins, like just came crashing, and I cried the entire mass. I cried.
Wow.
Like sobbed. I was sobbing.
Wow.
And like the confessions that I had with the priest was the same that made what with the communion. He was in the cathedral at that time.
Oh.
So he was in my journey since like the beginning.
Wow.
And I cried. My confessions were like 1 hour each time. Poor priest were like 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would cry a lot. And I would cry a lot for like the first 6 months or a year. Because I still felt the pain of the things that I did and how I heard Christ and myself. And then I also another thing that helped me was Father Ripper. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
his videos. He also
yeah.
helped me with that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and I read, thanks to him, like the seriousness of demons and like exorcisms. My grandfather actually took part in an exorcism.
Okay.
Right?
As a volunteer, like a helper?
Yeah, he was a charismatic.
Okay.
There was one exorcism here in my city, only one, like in like 60 years, and he was part of that.
Mm.
And there was this priest that was called Father Pierre, and he helped him by praying, and he had to fast for a long period of time and pray and go to confession like a lot.
Yeah.
All the people that were there. And after they took the demon out of the lady, my mom told me they invited her to
Yeah.
dinner.
Nice.
Yeah, in their house.
Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah, why not? Well, to
Yeah.
be to be the subject of exorcism, you have to have goodwill. You have to want to be freed and liberated. So these are good
Yeah.
people. These are generally speaking good people who allow themselves to undergo exorcism. Otherwise, they would just say, "No, I like my demon and I'm happy with my demons and I'm going to
No, the
continue."
thing is with that girl, I think my mom told me because she knew that I think like her aunt, she was under like the aunt was her tutor, and the aunt was a witch or something like that. And she casted a
Oh,
spell on that woman. That's how she got
oh,
the demon inside of her.
oh.
Yeah, it was very serious. The sad
Nasty.
thing is that girl that got exorcised is not a devout Catholic. So
She is now or she's not?
she's not.
She's
That's a
not?
sad thing. No.
Oh, you know her?
Yeah, she tries. No, she tries like to forget that happened. So,
Okay, 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 okay.
but going back, yeah. So I went back to mass, and I was doing my own journey. I would wake up myself, put the alarm, and after like 4 months or 5 months of going, my mom told me, I want to go to mass with you next Sunday.
Okay.
It took me by surprise. I was like, okay. And now she comes with me each Sunday.
Nice.
But my brother and my father are not, did not want that. And another thing that I battled with before converting totally was with submission
Okay.
to the
Oh,
Pope.
okay. Obedience and submission to the Pope. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Because
Like,
you had discovered Sedevacantism and
no,
Radtrad's
no,
No?
nothing like that. Not
No?
actually nothing like that.
Okay.
And I was kind of like before, kind of like a libertarian. You do you, I do me. Thanks to the novels, like, oh, let those like homosexuals do their stuff. They're not bothering you. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then it hit me like, are you truly seeing him with charity, or are you following the media or what the media says he says about things?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, instead of following what the media says, I go to the primary source of things.
Yeah.
I read it by myself. And 99% of the time, they misquote him or something like that, or mistranslate him, because thankfully I know the first language of the Pope.
Yeah.
So there's, for example, casamiento y matrimonio are different in Spanish, the meaning, but they're the same in English.
Marriage.
Casamiento is the meaning of getting legally married. And matrimonio is a sacrament of matrimony. So sometimes, when he says casamiento, he says matrimonio, it's misinterpreted. Because there's modism in Argentinian like language that. But yeah, and then I started getting humble and saying like, maybe he's right and I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know everything, and maybe God's hierarchy is there for a reason. and to guide me and not follow my feelings or
Yeah.
something like that. Because from following from what I did lead me to nowhere. Yeah.
He can also be wrong about certain things, and you can be right about certain things. That's fine. He's a human being, but you still need to
No, but I'm
respect
talking
him. You need to,
about
yeah,
faithful things,
yeah, yeah,
like faith things, not
yeah.
like particular things.
Opinions
I
and
was
stuff.
talking about like dogma and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, like why does he have like infallibility? Why? He's a human. He cannot. And then I started reading more about that. I wanted to read Say Thomas Aquinas, but I couldn't. I
Okay.
couldn't.
No?
That language is not for me. Give me Dietrich von Hildebrand, like Saint John Paul II, all of that. I love that language.
Okay.
But Saint Thomas Aquinas has too much logical, like
Okay.
kind of like manly language for
I
me
see. I
that
see.
my brain cannot grasp.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and I also read Cardinal Sarah books.
Okay. I'm not aware of those books.
And also I read a lot of books, and now I'm reading Saint Francis of Sales.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he lived here in a period of time in my city.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
And we have a parish there in his name.
Wow.
His name.
He's one of my
And we
all-time
have
favorites. One of my all-time favorites.
really,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing.
yeah, and we have a museum like where he lived, and there's a school. Like there's three things there, like
Wow.
where he lived. Yeah, and so yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything.
That's pretty
Yeah,
incredible. So you really did come back to the fullness of the faith, and you're on fire for the faith. Because at first, in the beginning of this interview, you said lukewarm Catholic and a cultural Catholic, and I thought you were talking
yeah.
about yourself, but no, you're
Oh no! I actually get like in arguments with my father because of that.
okay.
He actually is not encouraging of me growing
No,
in my faith.
no.
He's like, "Why are you going so much at mass? Well, you're going to fail in college." When in fact it's the opposite. I'm more motivated to do things.
Yeah. What are you
And he's
studying?
accounting.
Okay. So, I've been told by a monk priest
Mm-hmm.
in the Catholic Church, in the confessional booth, what are you doing confessing? Why are you confessing so often? What are you doing here on a beautiful Saturday day? Why aren't you out being a regular man or boy or whatever? And
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, there are graces that come from confession, and I want to avail myself of those graces.
Yeah.
And I mean, why? I didn't ask the priest. I didn't ask him, why are you trying to deter me from coming to confession? But it's a bit disheartening. It's a bit disappointing. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's tragic. Why is this man, who's a priest of God, he's a monk living a religious life, and he's trying to dissuade me from availing myself of the sacraments? I don't understand that, unless it's just a
Like what he
challenge.
saw.
Unless it's a challenge, a
Yeah,
test, just
maybe.
a question. Maybe just a question. There are no bad questions. He was just asking the question to see what I said. Or maybe he thinks that I'm insane, that I'm too in love with the church, or too scrupulous or something. I don't know. I don't know. But I just said I'm here for the graces of the sacrament. And
What his tone of voice like different from his normal tone of voice. I think that's
well, it
how
was
you.
just like it's just the same tone of voice. If a friend were genuinely surprised, like, hey, what are you doing here? You should be like out with like let's say there's a party next door with a swimming pool, and everyone's swimming and having fun, and
Yeah.
then your friend works in the library next door, and you go into the library a lot, and he's like, what are you doing? You're a beautiful young woman. You should be at the pool party.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you're not acting normal. Like, hey, did you know there's a pool party with all your friends are having fun in the swimming pool? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah,
What are you doing here at the library? It's just like a concern, like, hey, what's wrong with you? Like, why don't you go and be normal?
yeah,
Why don't you go
yeah,
and be normal? So that would be very understandable, a nice friendly gesture from your friend that works at the library. But for the priest in the confession booth, I don't think
yeah,
it's the same thing. So
yeah,
I don't want to judge this man. I don't know what his motivation was, and you know, frankly, who cares? I'm gonna just do what I think I need to do for my eternal salvation, and all the priests in the world can try to deter me from going to confession or going to mass. That's fine. Go for it. Doesn't
yeah.
It's not going to
Well,
deter me.
maybe it's a test from God.
Yeah,
He tests us to see how strong our faith is.
yeah.
For example, when I love social media.
Okay.
Like not in that way. But for example, I deleted my old social media, which was secular, and I created another account and only follow like Catholic pages or like and saint quotes and all of that. And I used to follow an account that I later discovered was from like an SSPX
Oh,
churchgoer.
okay.
And how did I discover it? Because on a publication it says, "Do you go to another service mass? Don't. If preferable, you pray at home." And I was like, "What is this?
Mm.
What is this? Like, this is strange." And then I discovered all of that, and recently about sedevacantism, and yeah, I just found like their claims like scandalous. I don't even want to click on videos because it's so scandalized. Like one of these videos were saying like Saint John Paul II was the Antichrist.
Mm. Yeah.
No. Oh, you know the interesting part of my story? I'm going to Catholic college, and all my entire teenage years, I went to Catholic high school.
Nice.
And I had an experience with Jesus Christ on my last year, not my second to last year of high school. Well, we have like subjects of doctrine of the church, and we have all of that spiritual education like since the beginning. Um, it's bad. I'm telling you, they don't teach you anything. It's like be good, like have compassion, and all of that. So it's not.
No substance, no depth.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And oh yeah, we were doing he put music on, like imagine you are yada yada yada. I started imagining,
Meditation
and
or
no, like like close your eyes, and there's music on the background that the teacher played, and like start imagining you're running on the field, and there's like a house in the middle of it. I don't know why I imagine it like a tree house.
okay.
So I went out the tree house, and like there was Jesus in it, and I couldn't hear the teacher anymore. And, like there was Jesus in it, and Jesus was saying like, "I love you" to me. And then I started sobbing. The teacher's class. It was inside of the church of my high school, and I knew I always believed in God. Always believed that Jesus was real. And even though I had the experience, I still refused to go to church. See how obstinate I was, because I thought like, how can Jesus' church be this corrupt if if it was his church? That was what I was thinking. But I guess we're just not comparable to God. Are human beings that form part of the church.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know if you're very familiar with my podcast and the episodes that I put out, but I do talk a lot about the threefold nature of the church militant, the church suffering, and the church triumphant. And
Yeah.
it's just by default, a lot of people, Catholic and non-Catholic alike, a lot of people assume that when we talk about the church, we're talking about the church militant and exclusively about the church militant. But the church militant is not pure. The church militant is a mixed bag of wolves
Yeah,
in
yeah,
sheep's
yeah.
clothing. And the purification can happen here, and it has to begin here. And if we look at the lives of the saints, they were pure, they were purified here. They did their purgatory here. But for most people, it's a big hot mess, and a lot of people are going to have to be purified in purgatory, sadly. It's sad to say, but that's the way it's going to be. And then, only then, do we have, at the height of perfection, the church triumphant. And the church triumphant is what I talk about when I talk about the church. The purity of the church, the holiness of the true church, the beauty of the church. And there are glimpses of that here below in the church militant. Of course, there are glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But there are also glimpses of Antichrist in the church. There are glimpses of hell in the members of the church. And I'm not making this up. This is real. This is something that I know with absolute certainty, because I am a sinner. I am part of the church militant. I am not pure. I am not perfect. And I have a mixture, like St. Paul talked about, the war within him with the flesh and the spirit, and it's a battle. But once you're in purgatory, you're just happy that you're on your way, and you can't pray for yourself, but you can pray for others, and others can pray for you. And so there's that exchange, and there's that communion of saints that takes place, even in the church militant, with the church suffering, and of course the church triumphant. So I think it's very, very, very important that we not get too excited about corruption in the church, because the corruption is rampant here below. And in purgatory, the corruption is dissolving away. It's being purified by the love of God. And in the church triumphant, there is absolutely zero corruption. So that's the church. Mary, body and soul in heaven. Christ, body and soul in heaven. That's the church. This is a pale shadow here below the church militant. So I think it's very, very, very important to always remember that yourself, and to always remind those people, whether they're sedevacantists or whether they're Protestants or whether they're atheists, to remind them about what the church is and that threefold division. Because otherwise you'll just say, well, the church is a joke because of the corruption, apparent corruption or real corruption that's here in this fallen world. But that would be to miss the point. That would be really to miss the point entirely of the church.
I actually search for arguments against sedevacantism or SSPX, because truth is out there. You just have to look for it in the right places, right? And I've seen a video of a testimony of an ex-sedevacantist that was big on YouTube that converted. I don't know if you heard of it. I think it was Paleocrat.
Oh, Paleocrat. No way. Jeremy Bannister.
I think that's his name. Yeah, something like that. And I've seen
he talks about St. Francis de Sales book.
That one. I read that one now. And it's the controversies of the Catholic Church or something like that.
Yep.
And it's the same struggle that I was it reminded me of the same struggles that I was having before truly reverting. What authority God has given you, to pass all these judgments, especially in the Pope, like I said to you, which I struggled before. And also, when I was reading those topics, there was a lady that I talked to on the morning, those days, that just came up to me and said that she struggled, but with bad-mouthing.
Yeah.
Or gossiping. Bad gossiping the priests.
Ooh.
If somebody will talk bad, she will stay silent and be complicit of that. Or talk badly too.
Yeah.
And she told me that one day she went to confession. And then she went to the Eucharist and started praying there, right? To the Eucharist. Not Eucharistic adoration, but to the Eucharist. And she felt God was saying to her, why are you happy you need to apologize to someone? And she was like, what? And she knew that she had to apologize to that priest because of all of the bad gossiping and saying something bad in his name without charity or treat judgment because we don't know what is happening in the lives of these people. Because, especially the priests, because I've heard that a saint, I think they say, like, Satan wants them to fall the hardest, the strongest, because they're the leaders, right, of their community. And she felt such a weight off of her shoulders. And now she felt what true charity is. And she could comprehend the priest in a better manner. And she will never badmouth anyone or anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of my favorite saints is Saint Augustine of the
yeah.
4th century or thereabouts. And he had a plaque, allegedly he had a plaque in his office which read, "Here we speak badly of no one. We do not speak badly of anyone." So and Pope Francis has on his website his biography paragraph that talks about him and his pontificate and what he's all about. Just a short couple of paragraphs, but within those paragraphs he talks about how it's a grave sin to wound the character, the reputation of any human being. So there's something about the Catholic saints and the Catholic teaching in general about the dignity of the human and how we need to respect even, and love our enemies as we're taught to do. And it's not easy. It's easier to insult them, put them down, and even people that we disagree with, even if they're not technically our enemies, is just too easy. So a lot of the saints talk about this all-encompassing flame of charity and how we have to treat each other. And Christ died for each and every human, and there's an invitation for each human to repent. And so as long as a human being is alive, we have to have hope that they can convert, and by the grace of God they will say yes to the opportunities that they have to convert. So it's hard to live that out. It really is hard, especially if you're tired after a long day and you're on people are annoying you in traffic or whatever it is. I'm not saying it's easy, but if we can work on that by the grace of God, we can definitely grow in our love, right? Like that lady's story is very touching for that reason.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I've recently seen a video of Father Rupert Jared talk about that. It's about gossiping. And he said, I don't know if I don't remember talking about it. I've also got really interested in modesty because I got really interested in reading the life of Saint Padre Pio. And he was really harsh on the modesty on women. I read that he wouldn't even let in confession the lady that had skirt up the knee upwards. Yeah. So I will start wearing more modest clothes. So femininity in the holy way, in the true way that has to be, right? In the right way. But inside of me, I will see women dressed in vulgar clothes or revealing clothes, and I will say oh, what is she wearing? How is she not ashamed? And then I don't know if this was my spiritual growth or anything, and then I started realizing instead of feeling anger, I started feeling sadness. How lost this lady has to be that she thinks her worth is in her body rather than her soul. And I stopped doing that. And in the video of Father Rupert Jared that talks about how some rats, as you call them, or traditional Catholics, something like that. Some, I'm not saying all, have this holier than thou attitude that sometimes it's more damaging than it's healing.
Yeah, because pride is the worst, and spiritual pride is the worst pride. So that's a danger. Yeah. That's a danger for those who are otherwise very very ostensibly very holy. And Jesus talks about this in his day with the Jews of his day, how they are making great efforts to look good and to do the right thing and to follow the law and to
Yeah.
present a white, clean exterior while inside it's filth and hypocrisy and corruption. So Jesus talked about that, and the church warns us against that hypocrisy and that spiritual pride, which is all too easy to fall into if we are excited about our religion, because religion is easy and faith is difficult. Religion is what we adopt when we're too weak to have strong faith, because my faith goes up and down, but I
Yeah.
can always go through the motions. I don't always go through the motions, but I can
Yeah. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
go through the motions, and it's easier to go through the motions than it is to take the time to humble myself and to be silent in prayer and to avail myself of the sacraments and these sorts of things. It's just easier to go through the motions. So it's a danger for everyone. It was a danger for the greatest saints.
Yeah.
I can imagine the struggle of even the Blessed Virgin Mary as she walked on the earth, because she was
Mm,
the most pure, but
yeah.
how many shortcuts were presenting themselves to the Blessed Virgin Mary, where she could put on appearances and she maybe knew the right thing to say or to do, but she would always, because she loved God above all and she loved God most perfectly by the grace of God,
Yeah. Yeah.
she would put in the effort to always remain humble. So that's the model. That's the ultimate model, is Jesus Christ and his mother, and of course they're one flesh in a mystical way, because Christ and his church are one. You know,
Yeah. No, I actually was reading the life of Mary as seen by the mystic, the book,
who's that?
the life of the Virgin Mary as seen by the mystics.
Okay, okay. Who wrote that?
And those are the compilation of writings of
Who put
many
it together
nuns.
though? Oh, it was like
I don't
okay,
know.
okay. But this is a physical book that you have.
No, I have it on Kindle.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Maybe send me the link for that,
Sure, sure. Yeah.
because I read on my Kindle too.
Yeah, yeah. I have bad sides. I prefer reading in Kindle. But yeah, because sometimes I don't know how to handle things because I tend to suffer with impatience. Um, and I've read the things that Mary had to go put through, even though she never sinned. And how the other nuns, where you're gonna think like they're like very virtuous, right? Very virtuous. Like they will bad mouth her like a lot because
Ooh.
the envy, like, oh, like I don't know, the rabbi, I don't know, the Jewish one, like,
Okay.
oh, she took my thing, she robbed me, or like, oh, she did
Oh.
that against me, she took my things without my permission.
Oh. Oh, really? This is revealed through a mystical vision to certain saints?
Yeah, to nuns that I think later some were saints afterwards, after they
Wow.
died. And there's the names of a lot. There's a lot of things. That's in the introduction.
That's very
I don't
powerful.
remember the names. I have a bad memory. And do you know how do you think she reacted?
With humility,
Like how do you think?
just accept. Yeah, because
Like the rabbi will talk to Mary and is like, what did you do, Mary? What do you think she did?
she would remain silent.
She will say she was sorry,
Okay.
even though she did not do anything.
Okay.
She would apologize to the rabbi and apologize to the girl kneeling.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That kind of.
Wow.
And then God will reveal to the rabbi that it was
She's
all a
innocent.
lie.
Oh, wow.
And the rabbi will then apologize to Mary.
Ah, nice.
And this continued a lot. And that opened my eyes. Like sometimes we want to talk back or to defend ourselves. But sometimes that's not the right answer because I don't know.
It's
That's
pride.
what the
It's
other.
pride wells up.
Yeah. And sometimes we want to do justice or something like that, but the thing that I realized at the end of the day, God is just. And I'll do my best and I'll try to make amends with the people that did me wrong, and I will not hold any resentment towards them. To show some virtue and to keep me on check with my pride too. And to know that I can also make mistakes. There was also with pride, there was the thing that happened with catechists. There was this catechist for the children, and there were 3 for children and 2 for the adults.
Because you teach the children the catechism, is that right?
Yeah, the good thing about that is we reunite every Tuesday afternoon to talk about the reading of I don't remember the English word, Saint Luke, how do you call that? Reading in the Bible, the Gospels. Yeah, thank you. The Gospels reading of the Sunday, of each Sunday Mass.
Okay.
And we will discuss, first of all, what we think, and the priest will be there. And the priest will correct them, will correct us and our opinions to speak the truth, right? And not be like Protestants and teach what we think, like what we feel it teaches. And like put emphasis on this, and like this is a message, and something like that. And we will think about activities for the children and for the parents. And there's a conflict between the catechists of the parents. And it's still the problems today. That one catechist doesn't want to be interrupted while she gives her idea. Well, while what the priest says, it should be dialogue. It should not be like a monologue, because otherwise we're like class and we're hearing the teacher speak, and the next day they won't remember anything. And yeah, she said, I want to do it my way, and I want to take care of everything.
She was channeling the spirit of Satan right there, just like,
yes,
I will do my way.
Yeah, and
I'm exaggerating. I'm just making a joke. I'm not speaking ill of this woman. I'm sure she's a lovely woman.
No, I mean, it's pride talking. You all know it's pride.
I think so.
And we were saying like, no, but everyone, we can learn something from the other person. We need to be humble to say that. I don't remember the saint, but he said like the 3 top virtues that we have to have is humility, humility, and humility.
Yeah.
I think he wants to make a point with humility there. And so yeah, we told her in a fraternal way, like that. And if we didn't, it's not like our opinion on the activities was not to take her out of the way. We just were adding more activities. So it's not even like her opinion was out of question. And she got upset, and the decision that the priest took was to separate the 2 catechists of the parents. So she's going to take care one Sunday and the other one the other Sunday. And she threatened to go to the cathedral. She said like, so everyone is right, but I'm in the wrong. Well, the cathedral needs me, so it's in need of me, so you decide. I don't have problem going out of this parish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it's always a challenge working with human beings, even in the church. Unless if you're lucky enough to be surrounded by saints, which is not usually the case. It's not usually the case, right?
No.
But I've experienced volunteering at a small chapel, some politics and the power dynamics. Some people want power and some people want control, and maybe they have good intentions, God only knows, but some people have a strong character and they want to have their way. And certainly I'm no better. I want to have my way too, but in in that particular situation, I'm not imposing my will. I'm not trying to take a leadership role, far from it. But everyone is different. Everyone has their own personality, and we have to bear with each other very patiently. And
Yeah.
there's, I don't know if you're aware of the Opus Dei. It's an organization that deals very heavily with work and the sanctification of work.
Yeah.
Saint Jose Maria Escrivá founded this,
Yeah.
and there's an emphasis obviously on purity, chastity, and all these sorts of things. And there's an emphasis on docile submission to the Pope. So it's, I love the Opus Dei, I love the Opus Dei, but he said very famously that when someone annoys you, which happens, you know,
A lot.
when someone annoys you, don't say to yourself, he annoys me. Say to yourself, he sanctifies me. And that's going to
Oh yeah, I
transfer.
think I read that.
That's
I
going
think
to
I read that
transform.
quote.
That's going to transform
Yeah.
all of your relationships, and it's going to transform
Yeah.
all the conflicts. If
Yeah.
you can do it, if you can get in the habit, and if you can sincerely
Of
from your
course.
heart, if you can have that attitude, I've tried it and I've failed. I've tried and I've failed, but I'm going to keep trying. And
Yeah.
by the grace of God, you know, it's a work in progress. But if I like the idea, I'm not able to do it, but I like the idea. And if by the grace of God, if I continue, then perhaps God will allow me to love my neighbor even when they're annoying. Because that's the
Yeah.
goal.
No, I also like struggle with that, but not trying makes it more like a habit
Yeah,
with seeing my sufferings or suffering that I experience as mortification too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Offer it
And
up.
and I mean, I read all about through that with the saints'
Oh
lives,
yeah, of course, of course.
how
It's
they
amazing.
suffered.
They
They were
love
like,
it. They love it.
yeah, they enjoy it so much. And I was wondering, how can they enjoy it? How? And it's like, it's an opportunity from that God gave me to purify my soul,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to do that when you're feeling sad or depressed. Like, just think how sanctifying could it be? Like, you feel sad, you're crying, but you still choose to pray the rosary, or you still choose to pray at night, or to go to mass and to do those things.
Yeah,
You did the hard thing that God wants you to do.
yeah. I don't often have the faith to do that, but I know that's what I should be striving to do. Sometimes when I'm
No,
dry
yeah,
and when I'm
exemplify.
spiritually dry, sometimes I say, there's a lot of grace for me here. I don't want to pray right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to do my rosary. I don't want to do
yeah,
it. I'm going to
exactly.
do it, but I know there's more grace here. And I'm not doing it because there's more grace, but I know there's more grace. And the reason there's more grace is because if I do it against my inclination,
Yes,
it's for the love of God. That's why I would do it. That's why I would do it for the love of God,
exactly.
and that's why there's grace there.
And
It's
perseverance. Yeah,
yeah. So it's always about the love of God, and it's always about detaching from self-love, which is
yeah.
it's the challenge. That's the challenge of this painful life, is detaching from self-love, because we just want to have pleasure and ease and pleasant
Instant
situations,
gratification.
gratification,
Instant
and
gratification.
avoid pain and avoid inconvenience and everything that's unpleasant, and that's just the way it is. So, you know, I often think about the relationship the saints had with God and with Jesus
Mm.
Christ in particular, and his mother, and the awareness they had, the recollection they had, the awareness they had of God enabled them to enjoy suffering, because not only did they see the value in that perfection that comes through suffering,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
also the awareness that they had of the reality of heaven, the reality of God, and the how fleeting and this world is. It's passing away before our eyes.
Yeah.
It's very temporary. It's the suffering is nothing, and heaven is everything. God is everything. God is heaven. So it's the joy that comes from having a proper perspective on the proportion of the creature and the creator. And it's just like if I make a scary movie and it's really scary, it's really well done,
Mm.
the acting, the lighting, the script, everything is very scary, and you're sitting in the theater, it's a dark theater, and you're watching my movie that I made, but I'm right beside you,
Mm-hmm.
and you get absorbed in the story and you're scared, and then you realize, oh, I've got the director right beside me. I know that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to the film. I know there's a moral of the story. I know that this is good for me, and I know that I'm safe. And here's the director, the creator of this experience. I've got nothing to worry
Yeah.
about, so I can enjoy this without being overwhelmed by it. That's the way I see sort of the theater of life as a creature in God's creation, is that we have the architect, we have the director, the creator of all of this drama. We have him. He's not far from us, and
Yeah.
we are safe. That's the bottom line. We're insecure. We don't think that we have God looking out for us. We don't think that we have God protecting us.
Yeah.
And that's why we're scared. That's why we're insecure. But if you can think about that at all times, like, he is not far. And
Yeah.
he's allowing this. He's allowing this for a
Yeah.
reason. And then the drama can become more enjoyable. Now, I'm telling you all of this, but it doesn't mean that I'm able to really
Of course.
practice it. But
Yeah, I mean, we all
I'm
struggle with
struggling. Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for example, before I used to be scared of darkness or like stuff like that. Like when I watch a horror movie, I will get nightmares and be scared.
Yeah.
After reading, after converting to Catholicism, um, I I realized that we shouldn't be scared of death if we live rightfully. You know?
That's a big if.
We
That's a
shouldn't
big
be.
if, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If we did holy things, we shouldn't be scared and everything like that. And I read a story or something that happened. I think it was Saint Therese of Avila or Saint Therese. I remember who was it. Both of
The little
Therese.
flower, the little flower,
Yeah,
maybe?
that she woke up in the middle of the night, like there was a demon right in her bedside. She's like, "Oh, it was you again," and she came back to sleep like nothing happened. And then I realized, like, yeah, like demons do not have the power that God have.
The only power they have is the power that God gives them,
Yeah,
and they have permission to do everything they have. They have explicit, formal, legal permission for every move they make. Every move
yeah,
they make.
yeah. And I think it was an exorcist that said that, or like a demon through them, like they can do the things that they do, like to the exorcise body, that person,
To exercise them,
um,
yeah?
that person that is possessed, to the extent that God permits.
Yeah.
So we should never forget the amount of power that God has. So I'm not scared of the dark anymore. I don't watch horror movies though, because I think like
They're
they
demonic.
have a bad influence. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I don't listen like to bad music. For example, like I said to you, like I deleted all my social media and I started watching or seeing things that are holy or Catholic.
Nice.
And that takes such a turn in your head. You are so accustomed to people, like, I don't know, like seeing people like twerk or seeing like sexual depravity on television, on series, on shows, especially for young adults or teenagers even. And that when you stop watching those and because of an ad or something, you see that, it's like, what just happened? Yeah, because you just like made your mind, heart, and soul like pure again, or at least a bit purer than it was before.
Yeah.
So just imagine if it was like fully pure, or like if it was Mary seeing this stuff, how they could react.
Amazing. And
how sad they get when you entertain those things.
Yeah.
Like when you say the bad word, when you say God's name in vain or something like that.
Yeah.
It will be so hurtful.
I pray to be disgusted by sin, to be disgusted by anything that doesn't please God, anything that offends God. I want to be disgusted. there are images which I could conjure up right now, and I could express them to you, and we could agree that's disgusting. Please do not talk about that.
Yeah.
That imagery is disgusting. Okay. Now, I
Yes.
want that same level of disgust for the smallest venial sin. I want that level of disgust. I do not have it. I can tell you that sin does not disgust me. It has to be really, really big for me to feel angry, righteous anger, or any kind of
Yeah.
disgust. It has to be huge because I'm very desensitized by my life and everything growing up and education
Yeah.
and the TV and everything. And I don't have that sensitivity. I want it because without that sensitivity, you're still attached to sin. You're still attached to sin. So that's the thing. I just got a nice book. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Can you see that?
Contemplative Rosary. I've never read of that.
It's
I've never read that.
I just participated in an online rosary, but I want to read. I'm sure you're familiar. I'm sure you're familiar with the promises of the rosary. Can you read that? It says the 15 promises of Mary to
No,
Christians.
could you put it like more to the side? No, the other one.
Like that?
Yeah. The 15 promises of Mary to Christians who recite the Rosary.
Are you aware of the 15 promises?
No, I think I read that like one day, but I forgot.
Do you mind if I just quickly go through it and you can
Sure,
comment
do
on
that.
it, okay?
For sure.
We'll go point by point. So number 1, whoever shall faithfully serve me by the recitation of the rosary, this is our Blessed Mother speaking. Whoever shall faithfully serve me by the recitation of the rosary shall receive signal graces, which means very special graces. Okay, so right away, what's your impression of this? If you faithfully serve Mary by the recitation of the rosary, you're going to get special graces. What do you think about that?
Graces, I think you're going to be more receptive in growing in virtue, or more receptive, I think, in the signs that God give us. Well, when I was in my journey of faith, especially nowadays, I see the signs that God sends me, the smallest signs, especially with children. God loves children because they have the innocence and pureness we don't have.
Yeah.
And for example, one day, it was like two Saturdays ago, I was feeling like kind of like not depressed, because I don't want to minimize depression, but really sad and really heartbroken. And then this little child that having gone like to catechism encounter, like came up to me like out of nowhere and hugged me and say, "I love you, and I appreciate you." Out of nowhere. And then Sarah encounter, she was holding my hand besides me.
Wow.
And I told my priest, and my priest said, like, yeah, that's like God's talking to you to give you like comfort. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. But before, like if I didn't have the maturity of my spiritual life that I have now, I wouldn't have seen that.
Wow. That's nice.
So I think that's
Beautiful.
the great.
Beautiful. Number 2, I promise my special protection and the greatest graces to all who shall recite the rosary. So here she's offering special protection. Special protection, what do you think that might mean?
I've read actually a post that said, a demon that said, a person who prays a family member who prays the rosary can save their family.
Wow.
A demon admitted that.
Wow. Amazing.
That just to know how powerful that rosary is.
Number 3, the rosary shall be a powerful armor against hell. It will destroy vice, decrease sin, and defeat heresies. So that's a lot packed into number 3 there. Powerful armor against hell. If we need armor against hell, that means that hell is actively attacking us, right?
Yeah, for sure. Have you read the Screwtape Letters?
Yeah. Yeah. C.S. Lewis.
That's the perfect example of like demons trying to take a hold of one person's soul.
It's true. Number 4, it will cause virtue and good works to flourish. It will obtain for souls the abundant mercy of God. It will withdraw the hearts of men from love of the world and its vanities, and will lift them to the desire of eternal things. Oh, that souls would sanctify themselves by this means. So this is Mary speaking, obviously, again. So we see the virtue, good works. We see the abundant mercy of God that will be given, and withdrawing our hearts from love of the world and its vanities. And it will lift our thoughts and desires to eternal things. So that's a lot packed into that fourth promise too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The fifth promise, the soul that recommends itself to me by the recitation of the rosary shall not perish, period. The soul that recommends itself to me by the recitation of the rosary shall not perish. Boom. That's amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen the story of the rosary? I had to look it up for children. I told the children last Saturday, actually, the story of the rosary.
No.
Summarized.
No.
Actually, you haven't?
No.
Well, I've seen very summarized. And anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I found. Like, there was this Spanish, like, priest.
Saint Dominic?
That... I forgot. No, it was not Saint Dominic. It was 1202. Okay. 1202, the year. I was Spain, from Spain. He went to the south of France to convert people that four popes couldn't convert before him. 4 popes couldn't convert these people in the south of France. What did these people thought? They thought two gods exist, one a good God and a bad God, like evil God.
Gnosticism.
They didn't believe in the sacraments, and they didn't believe in the Virgin Mary. Those 3 things. And the monk will go there and he built a parish consecrated to the Virgin Mary, in the name of the Virgin Mary. And he will try his best to convert these people, and they will convert, but because of other people that didn't convert, were mocking them, they will come back to their old ways. And then one time, this priest was praying to Mary, heartfully, Mother, please help me. How can I convert these people? And the Virgin Mary appeared to him and showed him the rosary. This is the weapon that's going to help you convert these people. You have to teach them how to say it and the rest of the world. And that was the thing that converted these people that couldn't convert.
Wow.
That's how powerful it is.
Amazing. I recommend you and I recommend everyone read. There are many, many, many great sources to read about the Rosary, but my favorite is Saint Louis de Montfort. He's a French saint.
Wow.
I can send you some emails with links to some of his writings.
Oh, please do.
Yeah. Very, 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 very powerful stuff. And he, of course, has his own wisdom from God, but he also has a lot of knowledge about the history of Saint Dominic and Blessed Alain de la Roche and all these people that are pivotal in the history of it. So number 6, whoever shall recite the Rosary devoutly, applying himself to the consideration of its sacred mysteries, shall never be conquered by misfortune. So here we have a worldly promise about misfortune. You're not going to be subject to misfortune. God will not chastise him in his justice. Wow, because God's justice is all encompassing, and it's very scary, God's justice. So
have you seen the conversion? Have you heard about the conversion of Saint Bruno?
Saint Bruno. I just read about Saint Bruno. Hold on now. His feast day was just last week. Right?
I don't know his feast day, actually. I just know his conversion story.
Yeah, remind me, because I just read it on his feast day recently.
Well, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly because I know it in Spanish. But it was something like he was a teacher of his, a renowned teacher that was considered good, died. And they made a Catholic funeral service, I don't know how you call it. And while the priest says in funeral, I don't know the exact words, but speak now the justice of God. I don't know. But he said something like that, right? Or God make his judgment, something like that. then the dead body comes up.
Ooh.
And he said, I am going through the general judgment of God, or the first judgment of God. And then he goes back to the
Wow. It
position
must have
of
been the
death.
particular judgment, maybe.
The particular, okay.
The particular,
There's
the first one.
three phases, yeah.
Okay.
And then the next day they do the same, and after the words of the priest, he comes back again. I'm going through the second one? What's
I
the
don't
name?
know the second. I know the particular and the general. I don't know the third one.
Well, the general.
Okay.
And then he goes back, and then more people start coming up, right? By each, I think. And the third one, he gets up like, the final judgment is here, something like that.
Wow.
I am condemned to damnation. Do not pray
For my
for
soul.
me, to me.
Wow. Wow. Scary. Scary.
And everyone thought he was a good person. He seemed like a good person, but they didn't know his personal life.
Yeah.
What thing did he do in his personal life, or what thing did he believe, or what? And that's how Saint Bruno converted, and
Wow.
he started preaching the words of God throughout the entire world.
How old was he at that time? Was he a young man?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I think it was like in his 40s or so.
Oh, really? Late convert.
Yeah.
Late convert. So God will not chastise him in his justice. He shall not perish by an unprovided death. If he is just, he shall remain in the grace of God and become worthy of eternal life. So that's a big if. If he be just, he shall remain in the grace of God and become worthy of eternal life. So this is all point 6, promise number 6. Whoever shall recite the rosary devoutly and remain just shall remain in the grace of God and become worthy of eternal life. So it's not easy. It's not easy to persevere in the faith. One of my favorite saints, Saint Alphonsus Liguori, says 2 priorities that we have in prayer. And if you want to be saved, you have to pray. And if you don't pray, you will not be saved. 2 priorities we have in prayer. Number 1, the love of God. We have to have divine love. We have to love God. We have to ask God to be able to love him properly. Yeah. Number 2, we need perseverance in the faith. We have to ask for perseverance in the faith.
Yes.
If we stop asking for perseverance in the faith, we will not persevere in the faith. It's very scary. It's very, very scary. So we have to ask for these 2 very, very basic things. And if we take it for granted, if we say I'm Catholic, I'm good, I'm basically good, my sins aren't that big, and we're not asking for the love of God to increase, and we're not asking for perseverance, St. Alphonsus Liguori says many, many souls are lost because they just don't persevere. And they don't ask for perseverance, and they don't love God as they should because they don't ask for the increase in love of God. So it's very scary. It's very sobering.
Yeah. And I think one thing that my priest always repeats to us is we should be grateful that we have the gift of faith. Not many people have the gift of faith. Yeah. Too many have hardened their hearts to God. So we should try to use that gift for the better of the people, and to also not use the gifts that God give us to make ourselves like feel better than everyone or holier than thou, but to use that to benefit the whole community and everyone that surrounds us.
Amazing. That's exactly right. Number 7, promise number 7, whoever shall have a true devotion to the rosary shall not die without the sacraments of the church. So you need a true devotion to the rosary. So let's hope and pray that we can have that true devotion to the rosary. Yeah. And we will not die without the sacraments of the church. So it's very important to have confession before we die, and to receive Holy Communion, and to get the last rites. And there's a lot of protection that comes from these final sacraments. And I hope and pray that I can get those, but I'm not really in a situation right now where it seems likely because I'm isolated. I'm the only one in my family. Even my wife is not a believer. So it's not like I'm not immersed in a milieu where I'm going to automatically have a priest hovering around me when I die. But if I believe in the promises of our Blessed Mother, then anything's possible, and who knows what's going to happen between now and then. But it is sobering to think about the access to the sacraments at the end of life. Many, many people don't have that, and you wonder what the outcome, how the outcome might have been different if they'd had access to the sacraments at the end of life. You're in Latin America. I think you have more of a chance of getting the sacraments at the end of life than I do here in Quebec. Here in Quebec, it's a tragic situation in the church right now.
Why?
Because the church was rejected by the people in the 60s in
Yeah,
a
sexual revolution.
revolution, the sexual revolution, and
Yeah.
the quiet, they call it the quiet revolution here. Which was a
Oh.
rebellion, an explicit rebellion against the church, because the church had a certain amount of control in Quebec. And there may have been, probably there was some corruption in the, in the hierarchy, because there always is. In the church militant, we talked about this before, the church militant is not perfect. So that's why there was the rebellion. And it's a very difficult situation here. In Canada in general, it's very difficult for the church.
No, here we still have like the church, like I say, because it's in the constitution, it still like has power.
Yeah.
Not that amount of power, because still a person got like approved, but some power at least.
Oh, wow.
Really, recently.
Oh no. Oh, we have to keep praying. We have to keep praying our rosaries against abortion.
Yeah.
So, promise number 8, those who are faithful to reciting the rosary shall have during their life and at their death the light of God and the plenitude of his graces. At the moment of death, they shall participate in the merits of the saints in paradise. So here we're talking about that light that's going to come to us if we're faithful, and the plenitude of God's graces, and the merits of the saints, how we're going to be able to participate in all of that. It sounds like almost like a flood or a tsunami of light and grace, and like as if heaven itself is coming down to us. It's like heaven comes down to us if we are faithful in reciting it. Promise number 9, I shall deliver from purgatory those who have been devoted to the rosary. So that's a pretty big promise. Purgatory is not where we should be aiming. A lot of Catholic podcasts and priests and people that are talking on the internet talking about how we should not set our sights on purgatory, because if we aim for purgatory, we may end up in hell. If we aim to skip purgatory and go straight to heaven,
yeah, exactly. We still aim to heaven, and
then maybe you'll end up in purgatory.
My dad says like, oh, it's okay, I'll end up in purgatory. No, I've been in purgatory. And I said, no. And so you should be happy in purgatory, because that means like at the end of the road, I don't know how many years that will be in purgatory, you'll end up in heaven. But that's not guaranteed.
No. No.
I said like, God is just.
Yeah.
And you cannot claim like to be ignorant about certain subjects, because I tell him the truth. You cannot claim to be ignorant.
That's the sin. You can tell your father in a very polite, gentle way. Maybe you can find a way to tell him that
he's becoming. Hey, I'm happy because he's becoming more like accepted,
more open.
more open. Yeah. For example, there are things that I have from my catechist things like phrases, or for example, a dry rose from Saint Rita, and like a prayer, and I give him like the prayers and the things to influence him or something like that, and he gives him in his bedside. So he appreciates it, so he doesn't throw it away. And lately I read him the, how you say it? Saint Lucas.
the gospel?
The gospel, and he was but I noticed something. He discussed it when I was only with him. When other family members entered to have dinner, he didn't want to talk anymore. Okay, let's stop talking about it. Yeah, but I would say slow pace.
Slowly, baby steps. Yeah. And I'll be praying for you and your family. And I don't know if you know, but I enroll all of my guests in perpetual mass, so the graces of the mass will be flooding you and your family till the end of time.
Thank you.
Promise number 10, the faithful children of the rosary shall merit a high degree of glory in heaven. So not only can we get out of purgatory, we can have a higher place in heaven if we are faithful children of the rosary. So that makes me want to be a faithful child of the rosary, so I can have more glory.
Yeah.
Not because it would please me, but because it would please God. Obviously, it would please God to have all of us have more glory, because our glory in heaven is God's glory. It's not our glory, it's God's glory.
I didn't, and that's the thing I didn't know about heaven, is that there was a hierarchy. Like
Yeah.
some saints like have more like are more pure or holier, and that I didn't know that. I discovered that like months ago, but
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
didn't know that. And everyone was happy, like in their position.
yeah.
Like because right, like in heaven there can now be like vice.
The
So
little flower talks about everyone is full of joy, but everyone's
yeah.
cup of joy is a different size. So you have a little cup that's full, a big cup
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
full,
yeah.
a medium cup that's full. That's what the little flower says. So yeah, but we think it's very intuitive. Once you realize, once you have your Christology correct, then you understand your Mariology, and once you understand that Mary has the fullness of grace, as it says in Scripture,
Yeah, yeah,
then you
for
know
sure.
there's a hierarchy. You know that
Yeah.
Mary surpasses all of the saints combined in her holiness and purity in these
Yeah,
things.
well, I knew she was like the highest. I knew like
Okay,
that rank was like
okay.
there. I didn't know like about the saints, right?
Okay, that there's a
Like all the other
differentiation,
people.
right?
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Right.
I didn't know about that. Yeah.
Promise 11, you shall obtain all you ask of me by recitation of the rosary. So I'm asking the Blessed Virgin Mary and Christ every day for the true and lasting conversion of every sinner.
Yeah, me too.
That's
Me
what I'm
too.
asking. And Mary's promising me here, allegedly promising me, that, because I don't know if these promises are actually from God. It's
Yeah.
not part of the public revelation. This is a private revelation, so
Yeah.
we can't know with certainty, but
We can hope.
it's a pious belief. It's a pious belief.
Yeah, yeah.
But if that's the case, then I mean, we can't, God will not override the free will of his creatures, his human creatures. And so there is always the chance that people will say no to his graces. That's a sad reality. That's why hell is real, and that hell is not empty, because some people do say no to God's graces. But
Yeah.
by being faithful to the rosary, at least that will give more graces to those people that we're praying for, like people in my family and my wife and my friends
Yeah.
and everyone. They need grace to convert, right?
Yeah. They need to soften their hearts. Yeah. And I think God's work, like God is working on my dad.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I see
for
I
sure.
see a huge difference. Like for somebody, like it could be like a little. For me, it's huge,
Of
huge
course.
difference.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course. I see it. I don't even know you or your father, but I can see it. I can see it already, that it's working. Keep going, keep going, keep doing what you're
yeah,
doing by the grace of
yeah,
God. Promise number 12, all those who propagate the Holy Rosary shall be aided by me in their necessities. So if you decide to propagate and promote the Holy Rosary, you're going to be helped by the Blessed Virgin Mary,
yeah,
and you're going to be enabled to promote the Rosary. So I have a little podcast, and I have the Rosary. I have an explanation that I give in my interpretation of how to pray the Rosary. And Saint Louis de Montfort says that we should all create our own method of praying the Rosary. It's a very personal thing.
yeah,
And so there's no harm in exploring how you're going to navigate the Rosary within certain parameters, as long as we respect the basic outline. So
Oh, actually, in our catechism now, because it's the month of the Rosary, October, we're making the parents of the children make rosaries, handmade rosaries.
wow,
And we're going to give those rosaries that we make to the communities houses, like to people that surround the church.
nice, nice. So that's
Yeah,
promoting the Rosary, and so
exactly.
the 12th promise applies to that you will be aided in your necessities. So let's say you ran out of beads or whatever, you will pray to have the resources you need, and you can propagate
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
properly. Promise 13, I have obtained from my divine Son that all the advocates of the Rosary shall have for intercession the entire celestial court, all the saints, during their life and at the hour of death. So this again is heaven coming down to us, those of us who are faithful to the Rosary. So she's obtained that. She's obtained that from her Son, that we're going to have that intercession. Very powerful.
Yeah.
Number 14, all who recite the Rosary are my sons and daughters, and brothers and sisters of my only Son, Jesus Christ. So that's a pretty intimate
Yeah.
promise. You know, would you like to be the daughter in a more special way, the daughter of Mary and the sister
Yeah.
of our blessed Lord? I mean, it's quite a
Yeah.
that's quite a promise. And
Yeah.
the final promise, number 15, devotion of my rosary is a great sign of predestination. So if you're worried, if you're at all worried about going to hell, you can have a certain amount of comfort from the fact that you're devoted to saying the rosary regularly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you pray, like if you pray to God and you pray devoutly and like you say, like especially on the toughest times when we don't want that or we feel bad or we feel sick or all the excuses that we make,
tired.
tired, of course, like rewards are going to come. Not in the aspect that we want like those rewards, but they're going to come. Perseverance is something very highly valued by God.
It's a battle. It's a battle. It's a spiritual battle. And we have to fight. We have to fight boldly. And
Yes.
Satan and his demons, they never sleep. They never sleep. And
No,
they're much more
they're
intelligent than we are.
searching for that like, oh, I don't want to pray today. Oh, I don't want
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to do my homework, or I don't want to study, or I
Mm.
don't, or like, yeah, it's just like, or I don't want to kneel, or I don't want to dress modestly. I don't want to take that extra step. They want that. They want that. How you say that? Like, I I
In
forgot
Spanish,
the
what
word.
would you say in Spanish?
I forgot the word in Spanish. Like to not like to be stuck. Like to be conformista is in Spanish.
Conformista?
Yeah. Like to be
So,
mediocre. Mediocre. To
okay,
be
okay, okay,
mediocre, you
okay,
know?
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Conforming to status
No, no,
quo.
it's not.
Conformista.
Conformista is like, I like this position and I won't go.
Comfortable.
I'm comfortable. Yeah, exactly. With comfortable.
Ah,
Comfortable.
okay,
That's comfortable.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Satan is very, very nice to us here. Very nice. Oh, you deserve a break. You deserve pleasure. You deserve this is not even a sin. Everyone's doing this. And
Have you seen this like in Instagram, or I don't have TikTok, but I found that TikTok is like self care Sunday, or
oh,
especially with women.
oh,
Like, oh, I'm going to like spend me time today,
oh,
all
okay,
of me time,
okay.
not like time on prayer. Well, these are secular women, so. So it's all about self pampering. And
Yeah.
then you read, like, I've recently read, like, the life of Saint Clare.
Ah,
Is totally different, like the opposite kind of lifestyle, total poverty by choice, because she lived in riches. She lived in
her.
riches.
I think her saint day is coming up in a couple days. Is that right? Do you know?
No, I think it was already.
Oh,
It
was
already.
it recently?
I don't
Saint
think that
Clair.
recently
No?
though.
Saint Clair. Okay.
But I remember because I have a group of with the Catholics and all of that, and they send things every time, and that's where I found like it was Saint Clair, and yeah, that's why it happened already.
August 11th.
Yeah. See,
Okay. I'm trying to see. Maybe it's Saint Lucy I was thinking of that's coming up. Saint Lucy is December 13th. Yeah. So I was confusing Saint Clair and Saint Lucy because I entered the church on the feast day of Saint Lucy, but I keep confusing her with Saint Clair. So that's coming
Also,
up.
you were not Catholic before. You converted.
Yeah, I converted in 2009 from atheism.
Okay.
From
Oh.
yeah.
Oh. But how did you get there?
Oh, well, God only knows, but the
No, but
apparent
like,
the
was your
apparent
family
reason.
like Christians, or not?
Yeah, I was baptized in a very, very liberal Protestant home.
Okay.
Not really practicing, not really, just grace before
Yeah, like my
meals,
family,
and
like
yeah.
lukewarm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what their relationship is. I don't know what their understanding is of the church and the sacraments and these sorts of things. But
Yeah.
it's a different. The Protestant world is quite varied, and but they were not fanatically a Christian.
Okay.
And I lost my faith at age 14. I had a strong, innocent,
Oh, 14.
naive faith until the age of 14. And at age 14, I had a dream about Jesus where I counterintuitively I lost my faith because when you
But
have
like what happened? Like what happened?
to lose the faith or to get the faith back.
No, to lose the faith. Like what? Like you say you had a naive
It was a
faith, but what was
pleasant
like?
dream. It was a pleasant dream
Ah, got it,
where
got it, got it, got it.
Jesus waved goodbye to me, and I woke up and I had lost my faith.
Really?
Yeah.
You said goodbye?
Well,
Goodbye,
he
David.
waved. He waved. It wasn't hello because I lost my faith when I woke up.
Mm.
So he was waving goodbye to me, like see you later. And then 25 years later, at 39, I came back to the church through the study of philosophy.
Oh, so you went like you were the opposite of me. I had the question reading that. Like, do you have like the logical kind of like conversion or the
Yeah,
emotional one?
yeah. It was more logical. Yeah.
Like reading, like what did you read? That's it. That made you say like, aha.
Well, it's a little bit strange because what brought me to God, to
Mm-hmm.
monotheism, was a bad Catholic.
Really?
Yeah, a philosopher, René Descartes, who was not a perfect man. I hope
Okay.
I hope he converted before he died, but he was an unorthodox Catholic.
Oh, he died already.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's the father of the modern age with science, and
Okay.
he tried to build a foundation for the natural sciences that excluded Aristotle's four categories and just reduced it to
Okay.
two and these sorts of things. So he's considered sort of a bad guy in Catholic circles, but he brought me out of solipsism because I'd fallen into solipsism, which is the absurd belief that only I exist. Sole ipse, only I exist. That was my belief.
Like I exist, like you exist. Like as a person, like I exist.
Yeah, I know that now, but as a hard solipsist, I did not believe that you exist. I only believe that I exist.
Like a narcissist. I only exist.
Well, a narcissist believes in other people, just he's obsessed with himself.
Yeah, but like
The
it's like
solipsist doesn't even believe that the other is real. That's the difference.
okay. But like
It's
focus only on you.
Well, yeah, it's the only reality. The only reality. Everything else is
Like, oh, okay, I
illusion.
know for sure I exist. Something like that.
Of course, you know you exist, right? But you don't know for sure that I exist.
No, but like I'm trying to understand that belief system.
Yeah, it's
Like,
absurd. It's absurd.
okay.
Don't even try to understand it.
Okay.
It's a mental illness, so don't try to understand it.
Okay.
Okay? But I had, through the course of reading philosophy for many years, I had fallen into all kinds of crazy ideas, and I ended up reducing my eliminating things that I was not able to believe in. I didn't have a foundation to believe in any material world. So there was German idealism, which challenged my belief in the material world and in other people, and so I fell into hard solipsism. And it was René Descartes who talked specifically about solipsism, and he had a solution, and he helped me to come back to God, to belief in God. And then I was not a Christian because I was an enemy of Christ and His church, but I came back to Christianity. And
Like enemy? Like you would consider yourself enemy at that time?
yeah, I was a Satanist. I was an atheistic Satanist. So I
Oh
was
wow.
I was worshiping the self and reason.
Yeah.
Reason and the self, the will,
Yeah.
the law of thelema, do what thou wilt. And
Yeah.
that's the religion that I adhere to.
Yeah. Once before I was like kind of like libertarian or individualistic person. And once I've read, like while I was carrying the faith, I read like the precepts of the Satanists. And I thought it was going to be like worship Satan or like do rituals and everything like that. But everything like that was pointing like there, it spoke like libertarianism to me.
Yeah.
Something like, it's like And
My
then I read the things like why Catholics like do not agree with liberalism, some
ah,
and stuff like that. Yeah,
my friend M is in the chat. She asked me to reread number 9.
yeah. Okay.
Promise number 9 says, "I shall deliver from purgatory those who have been devoted to the rosary." So that's a very important one, to be delivered from purgatory. So my friend M is going to come on and be a guest on the show eventually. We've been trying to
Okay.
figure out a date. I have very few women that come on the podcast, but that's why I appreciate M and yourself and a
Yeah.
few of the other women that I've had on. I've had one of my nieces, one of my sisters.
Oh wow.
My mother came on, but very few women, really, generally speaking. So I do have a very important woman in my life. My wife, she wants me to get back to her now, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But
Okay.
will you
Yeah.
promise me that you'll come back and we'll talk some more, and you can ask more questions about my journey?
For sure. I still have many questions to ask you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you write them down?
Yeah.
Okay, read me the list.
I think I said those like a few what like well, I mean the first one was like how was your journey to the Catholic faith, which or yours told me that.
Intellectual.
And that was the next question. And like what was that important event that made that happen? Was it more a logical or emotional one?
Logical.
And then what made you be far from God before your conversion or
Sin.
reversion?
Sin. Love of self. Love of self.
Have you heard? I've seen it. I love seeing like testimonies and read testimonies. I don't know if you heard about Journey Home.
Oh yeah, I love it. I
Podcast.
love it. Marcus Grodi and his son Jean-Marc Grodi.
There's a book about that.
I love it.
I was reading that, but there was another testimony that I read about a Satanist that was a wizard.
Yeah. Does he have a big beard, the guy?
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like blind. I've heard,
Yeah.
and he
You
wrote a
remember they
book.
got the
like,
rosary, the jewelry, and the rosary. Do you remember that?
yeah. He was talking about abortion is
Yeah.
Satanist ritual or something like that. I don't remember how he said.
Yeah.
And then, do you know that the luminous mysteries were created by an ex-Satanist?
No.
Yes,
Ooh.
I don't remember the name. And
Bertolo
then I think so.
Longo?
And then Saint John Paul II,
Okay.
like beatified him, something like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's when he put the luminous mysteries, introduced the luminous mysteries.
Okay, so
into
it's
the
thanks
rosary.
to Bertolo Longo. He's one of my heroes in the faith.
Well, he was an ex-Satanist.
And
then he converted like so strongly.
yeah.
And then he started praying the rosary so
He was
much.
all about the rosary, all about Mary.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was into Satanism and sexual
Exactly.
immorality. But his conversion took place at the Pompeii, Our Lady of Pompeii. It's an image which was a popular devotion in Pompeii, Italy. And he had a miraculous conversion from his dark way of life. And he really, really championed the rosary and Mary. And it was amazing. He's really he's not a saint, he's a blessed, but he's
blessed.
on his way.
Blessed.
He's on his way.
John Paul II made that possible.
He's on his way, and I'm sure he's in heaven. I'm sure he's a saint.
Yeah,
great.
He was very devoted to the rosary. So maybe those things, if that were like true, like declaration from God, like for sure.
He said that he had the grace to no longer look at the beauty of a woman. He just would not pay attention to the beauty of women, because that's
like the exterior beauty, more like the soul.
Of course, yeah. And Saint Francis de Sales talks about this also in the confessional. He would see the inner beauty of women.
I don't know who was, but the one that whenever he felt lost, like he will go like to throw himself through spines or something like that.
Yeah. I can't remember who that was either, but yeah.
No, but it was something like some people like
roll naked in the snow, roll in the thorns.
To feel like that pain rather than feel the love, the vibes.
It kills the lust. And the saints also talk about, the Desert Fathers talk about controlling your food and water and sleep. Okay? Because if we indulge in food, in water, and in sleep, then we have all this energy, all this lust. And it's very dangerous. So overeating.
And we're in a weaker state.
You should just find out the minimum that you need and then do 10% less than that. So You're
Yeah.
doing less than the minimum, but not enough to be really harmful. This is the standard of the Desert Fathers. I am not really there yet. I have
I
to
mean,
be honest. I'm not really there yet. Not even
yeah.
close. But I like
Yeah.
the idea. I like the idea of
I
discipline
mean,
for
that's
that.
why fasting is so powerful. That's why it's a requirement for to practice exorcism next priest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why
You have to be protected by prayer and
it
fasting
makes you
helps the prayer. It
stronger.
focuses the prayer and everything. Were there any other questions on your list?
Yeah. And that is, what is the virtue you're pursuing the most and why?
Faith, I would say, the virtue of faith, the virtue of uh, fortitude,
Okay.
temperance, fortitude and temperance. Fortitude, because it has to do with pleasure and pain, okay? Fortitude is not
Yeah.
scared of pain and suffering, and
Yeah. Yeah.
temperance is able to control the appetites. So those are the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Those are the two where I really need help.
Yeah, I've heard somewhere. I read, but I forget who wrote some things. And it said like the sins that we do occasionally or that we struggle the most are the sins that will make us saints.
Ah,
That's why Satan is tempting us in that area, because he knows, or they know, the demons, that when we achieve that, if we do, like we're going to be like incomparable,
wow,
like, and like God puts like that kind of virtue,
wow.
like for some it's like purity, for others it's like being lazy, like no, the opposite of being productive, and like you say, like fortitude. That's why Satan attacks us, especially in like attacking one virtue, a different virtue in each one of us.
Yeah,
I remember you said that, but it was the same.
we should focus on our weak point because
Exactly, the weakest one.
like you said, it will become a strong point.
That's the strongest point that God has in mind for us.
Wow.
That's why the devil focuses so much on that one. And that
Wow.
opens your mind like
It changes the perspective, yeah.
the perspective for sure. And then you answered this, I think, one. What are your favorite saints, books, or topics on Catholicism?
Yeah, well, my favorite saint is obviously the Blessed Virgin Mary, and I love Saint Augustine, Saint
Yeah,
Anselm, Saint Francis de Sales, Saint Louis de
yeah,
Montfort. Uh, who are the other ones? Oh, Saint Alphonsus Liguori,
yeah.
Saint Ignatius Loyola.
Mm.
Um, so who was the other one? Oh, Saint John Vianney.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Are you able to see?
Not to the other
I have
side.
two cameras. Yeah.
No, not to the other one.
There.
That one.
You're able to see that?
Yeah.
That's Saint John
Yeah.
Vianney. See his characteristic
Yeah.
hairdo? There's so many saints, but I also loved John the Baptist, even though he's like sort of before, at the borderline between Old Testament, New Testament. But
I didn't know he was martyred. I actually found that recently.
yeah,
He was decapitated.
yeah, and I love Saint Paul a lot. Saint Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
Saint Rita, who you mentioned, Saint Rita.
Yeah.
Of Corsica.
Of Cassia. Of Cassia.
Cassia.
Yeah.
Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint
Yeah.
Teresa of the Little Flower.
Yeah.
There's so many, and I love Goretti.
I couldn't believe she died at 24. Like that puts
It's
things in
amazing.
perspective. I'm 22. Time is ticking.
You know Maria Goretti? She
I don't.
was a young 14-year-old girl, good looking, and her friend raped her and at knife point and
I
killed her.
know one. It was like 11 years old, and that was the saint. That became his. I think Saint Anne or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Also have a devotion to Saint Anne, the mother of Mary. Saint Anne.
Ah, yes. I read a book that's actually on the life of Mary, the Virgin Mary, as seen by the mystics. Do you know how they knew that, like, she had to marry, like, Saint Joachim?
No.
Okay, so she was 24. How old do you think Saint Joachim was?
50?
She was 24 and he was 42.
Okay.
And they were like sleeping, and God sent like angels to each one of them, and the angel said to them while they were sleeping, "You have to marry Saint Joachim, and you have to marry Saint Anne." And the next day, they were married.
Wow.
It was as
Wow.
easy as that.
Wow. Arranged marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
And do you
nice.
know how like Joseph was elected? Saint Joseph was elected to marry.
I forgot to mention Saint Joseph. I always forget about Saint Joseph. Always forget about him. But yeah, he's one of my favorites. So what was the
Yeah.
question? How
Do you
he
know
was?
how he was elected to marry, to get married to
No.
Mary? I don't. I read it in English, but I don't remember exactly. But it was like they had to put like a plant or something like that on fire or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I could be wrong, but it's something like that. And they were looking at Mary, and Mary got out of crying because she wanted to be a virgin. She didn't want to get married. She wanted to be like a nun. Um, and there was one guy who thought, I think I'm virtuous enough of her, like to have her as my wife. God didn't choose him. And he became a priest afterwards. He became a really devout priest, very holy priest. And Saint Joseph said, like he promised God chastity for his entire life to God before that. And he said to himself, I'm not worthy of her. Like she's too pure for me. And God chose the humble guy.
Nice.
And oh yeah, when he put the plant, like it converted into something beautiful. I think into a rose or something. And like a dove put it like into his shoulder. You know, like the Holy Spirit, a white dove. Yeah.
Wow. I also have a devotion to what's her name? Faustina. Saint Faustina. From the
Okay.
Divine Mercy. The Divine Mercy.
Yeah.
The Polish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there are many others. What about yourself?
Of course. Yeah. What?
What about yourself? Any that I didn't name?
No. I mean, the Saint Virgin Mary, Saint Rita, Saint Teresa Lisieux. Those are like the top.
Yeah. I try to remember Saint Joseph always, and I try to remember the apostles. I am fond of the apostles, especially
Yeah.
Saint Peter, Saint Paul, and Saint James, the Saint James that wrote the epistle. I have a devotion. I pray to him by name every day
Oh wow.
for controlling the tongue.
Oh, I really like Saint Pio. I don't know why.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, here's.
Of course, and we have
Actually, my mom was born the day after Saint Padre Pio died, and she loves him. Oh, of course, Saint John Paul II. Yeah, how could I forget?
we can't forget him.
For sure.
I love all the popes, even the bad popes. Even the bad popes, I love them.
God chose them for a reason.
They're appointed by God. I say a prayer every day for the Pope, the current Pope, whoever it is.
Me too, for the authority of the church.
And it says in the prayer, it says that God appointed Pope Francis. Okay.
Like I say, like God has power, like to control what demons do, or to what extent. So he can elect whatever person he wants, and if he doesn't like him, he can strike lightning on their head and they're dead, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's easy as that.
Any other questions?
Yes. So, what are the most drastic changes you've seen after your conversion?
It's difficult to say. I would say that
that others seen of you.
Well, I don't have a great appreciation for my entourage because they're just annoyed by me. But,
okay.
But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But in myself, I would say that there's a certain clarity that I have that I appreciate now. And, there's a certain vision that I've been able to have by the grace of God, a certain clarity and understanding of basic, for example, morality.
Yes.
An understanding of natural law, just sort of like a lot of stuff just became common sense to me, whereas
Yeah.
before my conversion, I was very, 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 as you can imagine, I was very, very, very confused about a lot
Yeah.
of
We are
basic,
blinded. We are blinded by
blinded,
sin.
yeah, blinded by
We're blinded by
sin.
sin.
And
Like
so,
like Jesus said, forgive them because they do not know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah.
Forgive them,
So
Lord.
I think sexual morality is one of the biggest changes, just understanding what is the family, what is sex, what is intimacy, what is, what is a man,
Yeah,
what is a woman.
like
Those are
I
some of the
said,
biggest gifts. Yeah.
that topic like brought me like that passion of that topic, sacred sexuality was what brought me back to the church. So that I recommend to you if you want like that. Love and Responsibility by Saint John Paul II
Okay.
and Saint Alphonsus and
Oh,
especially Dietrich von Hildebrand.
okay.
Purity on purity.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Yes. I don't know if you like it so much as Dietrich von Hildebrand because his language is more like
I haven't read it. I
beautiful.
haven't read it. I can tell
More
you,
beautiful.
I can tell you that I do not enjoy reading Saint John Paul II. I do not enjoy it. And I
Really?
do not enjoy reading Saint John of the Cross and Saint Teresa of Avila. Also have difficulty.
But I think those are like I said, that's why I said that maybe you won't enjoy reading Dietrich von Hildebrand because they have a way of explaining things in a more uh, feminine
Yeah.
way, like more in the beautiful aspect rather
Yeah.
than the logical
Yeah.
aspect of that.
Yeah.
That's why I say like some books are
Hmm.
like are better read like from the for women and for men. That's why I said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to see it in a beautiful perspective, I
Yeah,
recommend that too.
there are definitely some saints that I enjoy reading more than others just because of that that
Of
line that you're
course.
drawing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the last one, but I think we already talked about. I said, what's your opinion on Taylor Marshall and Peter Jenner? What about SSBX and Alcantis? Yeah.
Pray for them, pray for them. That's
Yes.
my only comment. Nice,
Yeah.
lovely people, lovely. Everyone is holier than I am. That's not a problem. That's not the question. The question is,
Yes.
do you submit? Are you humble enough to submit? I mean, if you,
Or the judge, I think, who said that? I think it was Saint Thomas Aquinas. No, I don't know if it was Saint Thomas Aquinas or Saint Francis of Sales, because I'm reading the book. Like, there are three aspects to have when you judge someone. It has to be with charity, you have to have the
yeah,
authority. I don't remember the third one. But it was like that, like, and when you see their thumbnails or their assumptions and all of that, I don't see that charity coming from them.
yeah,
I've seen another sense that when you speak about someone, even if it's just, you have to pray the double amount of time
mm,
for those people. And
yeah.
yeah, that's a lot of time of prayers. Yeah, those are all the questions that I had.
Excellent. So you'll come up with more questions for next time, and I'll have you back for sure.
Of
I
course.
really appreciate it. And like I said, I'm going to be enrolling you as soon as I hang up. I'm going to enroll you and yours into the perpetual mass. So that's a
Thank you. I'll keep you in my prayers.
yeah. I was just going to say, so please
Yeah,
remember me
when I
in
pray the
mind.
rosary, I'll
Yeah,
pray for you.
yeah. So I'm going to do my rosary tonight. I remember you in my rosary.
Thank
For
you.
you and your father and your brother,
No, thank you.
your little brother, your big brother, and
Yeah.
of course
Oh,
your
have you
your mother
seen
and everyone
the
else.
story of one rosary? Like back then, I think it was Saint Valentine. I didn't know like Saint Valentine's Day was because of Saint Valentine. That was a saint. That's just speaking. And I didn't know like Santa Claus was a saint.
Yeah. Saint
Yeah,
Niklaus. Saint
exactly.
Niklaus.
Yeah,
Saint
exactly.
Niklaus.
Exactly.
It's the Scandinavian way of saying Saint Nicholas.
It's exactly. Yeah, and so no, I don't know if it was Saint Valentine. What I don't remember. It was like people that were in jail. A priest will go and talk to them about Catholicism, like before they go on a sentence, like a month or so, and he will give them rosaries. There were three prisoners. Two accepted the rosaries and prayed the rosary with the priest, and one was like, No, waste of time. And I think the month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I don't remember, passed by, and they had to get shot. Like, like death sentence. And the three of them wore the rosary. The last one was like, oh, let's see our luck or something like that, right? Let's test the luck, or like we already have like, what's the worst that could happen if I put the rosary. And when they got shot, two of them have their rosary on, and the other one, I don't know how it got, but the rosary got out of him. I think the bullet shot it and it got out of his neck, but it was like that. Yes. Yes. That's also talking about that, like the power of the rosary too. Like those two people converted truthfully, and the other one was prideful. And he wanted to try his luck on his last day, like not even truly believing in the rosary or God, or truly repenting, like to see the easy way out. God said, nah, not this time. You won't fool me.
Yeah. God will not be mocked.
No.
It's scary. It's scary thinking about God's judgment, but we have the rosary, we have the promises of the rosary, and we have just our love and devotion to Christ and his church. And we, like you said at the very beginning of this interview, we should thank God. We should be very grateful to God for our faith, because it's a supernatural gift.
Should we be truly scared though? He's just.
Yeah.
He's just.
It's scary. It's very scary. So we need the fear of God.
He loves us, but he's just.
Yeah. I pray every day to have the fear of God, a wholesome fear of God, a righteous fear of God, because without a fear of God, there won't be that respect.
Of course.
There could be no
He's
love.
He's our Father. We should respect our Father.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And I also had another thing to say that I forgot.
Take 5 seconds to think of it. You got 5 seconds to remember what it was.
Wait. What would you say before?
Not today.
Okay. I'll remember for next time.
You'll remember for next time. Write it down. And it was a real pleasure meeting you. Is it Isabella or Isabel?
Oh, I remember Isabel. I remember.
You remember your name?
No, I remember the thing that I forgot. I said God doesn't send people to hell; they send themselves to hell.
Yeah.
And I said it's like cockroaches getting away from the light, and this is also like greatly explained, I think, in The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis too. The people like want to be in hell, like they don't want God's glory, or like they're scared of it. Like it's. Like I said, like cockroaches with lights, they hate it. They run away far from it.
There's only one reality. Ultimately, it's the fire of God's love, and it for those who are oriented toward God's love, by goodwill, it's a beautiful, pleasant fire. For those who are being purified, it's painful, very painful, and for those who are damned, it's excruciating. It's torture. So the worst thing that God could do to those burning in hell is to bring them closer to him by bringing them up to heaven. It's a grace of God. It's a mercy of God that they have a place in hell. It's a mercy of God that they have a place in hell, because otherwise they would be suffering more if they were closer to God. And so that's the one reality. It's the
more
one
painful because they feel the mercy. Like God wanted to give them their love throughout their lifetime, and he put instruments, like you are an instrument for your wife to come back to God, an instrument to my father and to my brother. And sometimes I feel like God is overestimating me, but well, we're still instruments, right? God thinks we are worthy. We have something that we can show the other person. We have some qualities, and we can save our loved ones by praying the rosary, for example, like from damnation. Yeah.
Very good. Very exciting. So very pleased to meet you. And I look forward to meeting you again and talking with you some more. Okay?
Okay.
Take good care and God bless you.
I love that. You too. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.